Father, is there a political will to end the war in Syria and in Iraq?
No, there's not. That's a quick answer. But the reality is there are so many different conflicting interests of all the countries involved there that for them their national interests are priority, and therefore they're not prepared to transcend those for the sake of people on the ground. And the reality of the suffering doesn't seem to touch people when they have their concerns to be their own wealth creation, their own land acquisition, their own needs, and they're not interested to really look beyond that, unfortunately. So there's a long way to go to get people to transcend their own national interests.
Can we say that some countries are responsible or even guilty?
Clearly they are, and we're reaching a situation where people need to be naming who they are increasingly. Obviously, we've got to be careful about people on the ground from our constituencies who will become the targets. But it's clear that the big nation states, those in the region surrounding, are all guilty of provoking conflicts based on ethnic questions, based on religious divisions, based on their own interests in terms of their own land and trying to secure that. And of course the big thing that's emerged, that came out in this meeting, is that the arms trade corrupts everything, and all of the people involved are into the whole domain of trying to acquire as many arms as possible, which has been like a symbol of strength and power. And those arms are just proliferating, and they're getting into the wrong hands, and that is creating increasing chaos in the area. So unless we do something more about the arms trade, unless we do something more about the traffic of arms and start working towards prohibiting, making it a violation of international for anyone to move arms into that area, regardless of what their reasons are, we're never going to make progress in bringing peace there.
And concretely, what could be done by some governments or the members of the civil society?
Well, for governments, I think it's clear that they need to be putting pressure in the UN context on those that are fueling the war in the region there, and to begin together with others to be doing what I've just said, namely to be insisting on the prohibition of any movement of arms in that area. And there are many other things one could say, but maybe that's the primary thing. If you're talking about civil society groups or NGOs, what we need to be doing is to be mobilizing people at all our national levels to be confronting our own governments about their participation in this arms race, in these illusions about the security of getting more arms that everyone is living with, and to be also pushing for each one of our countries to overcome our own national interests, which are very narrow. So we can do a lot if we mobilize people on the ground to do that.